Hello there, my name is SV Dagan, and this is a question in which a lot of people that is listening to this audio file may not ask themselves the same question. But some of you that are listening to this, I can be 100% sure you have asked this question yourself. Tonight I watched the program about ladyboys. Now, if a guy falls in love with a ladyboy and the ladyboy, has the perfect shaped body because it's been designed and cheated by plastic surgery, is this guy that falls in love with the ladyboy, is he falling in love with the woman, the perfect shape? Is he falling in love with the fantasy, his fantasy, or is he falling in love with the man that has now been surgically transformed into a woman? Because ask yourself this question: would this guy have fallen in love with his ladyboy if the ladyboy had never had a sex change? Meaning, if you go back to when this ladyboy was a man, you could quite easily assume that the English guy who's now fallen in love with the ladyboy is a homosexual. Because if you were to go back, because what is this guy falling in love with? His fantasy or this ladyboy? Because there are a number of questions there. Because if you take away the female organs that's been given, injected in, and manipulated by the surgical surgeon, in a way the abstract artist, he was born a boy, so his husband to be could be construed as a homosexual. It's just a question I pose not only to many people contemplating getting married to a transgender. It may be legal or it may be acceptable, but to many people like myself, now I have to select my words very carefully here. Just because the governments around the world have accepted it, it does not make it right. I'm not saying that from the standpoint of the Bible, because if it is an acceptable thing for the masses, then wouldn't Christ, when he came to the earth, if he came to the earth, wouldn't he be a transgender as well? So what next? We have the female clergy. We have homosexual vicars. We have homosexuals in every walk of life. But when you think about it, this is the question for any homosexuals listening to this audio file. For a split second, look at homosexuality not from your eyes as being a homosexual, but try and look at it from the perception of non-homosexuals who do not approve of this behaviour, this conduct. See if you can grasp why is it that they find it distasteful. Just because it's legal doesn't mean it's acceptable. Because although I myself do not approve of homosexuality. It's their body. It's up to them what they wish to do with it, how they wish to manipulate it, redesign it, chop it up, put it all back together again. Because they have free choice to do what they like, think the way they wish, behave the way they wish, conduct their lives the way they wish. I, in turn, I have the same right to express how I feel. Because I choose to express it in a diplomatic way, as I wish not to offend people, I will not come out in this audio file and say how I truly feel, because I would only express myself in private. Because the person who expresses himself or themselves or conducts their way in a certain manner to cause an offence, these are the individuals that should have a lobotomy. Because when you exhibit yourself for the one single purpose of offending others, then you're seriously wrong and you need a lobotomy, because obviously you've gone off the track or got off the boat or took a non-parachute jump from a plane. No matter who you are or what you are, always be aware and always be conscious how people will perceive your behaviour if they perceive it as offensive. Are you the kind of person who just doesn't simply give a rat's ass who you offend? A few years ago, I was walking down the road in Bournemouth. I had my Dr. Dre headphones on. I was listening to Paul Van Dyke. And this guy stopped me. He put his right index finger on his lips. I stopped, took my headphones off and said, "Excuse me, what's going on?" And he said, "Kiss me there." Now, I didn't know this guy, and the guy obviously didn't know me, but his friend was standing about 6 feet away. I'm assuming pretending to be on the phone. Well, I took it as though he was attempting to offend me and wanting me to respond in a homophobic way, and so he would probably be able to sue me for compensation. But at the end of the day, this person doesn't give a damn who he offends, who he rips off, or who he prosecutes when the person is innocent of the allegations. So what did I do? I put my headphones back on, carried on walking. Now, some of you may be questioning that, why didn't I reply? Just because I didn't reply in my voice or in physical actions there and then, it's not to say I didn't seek my vengeance another time. Because at the end of the day, you may get the impression that these two guys are homosexuals, but let's assume they're not. But they're pretending to be homosexuals to get a compensation out of me. You understand? This is how my logical mind thinks. So, when I eventually got home, I summoned a very evil spirit to punish these turds for myself. My own pleasure, my own enjoyment, because anybody who seeks to entrap me for financial gain will be punished. So these two turds, I'm not calling them turds because they may be or they may not be homosexuals. I'm calling them ass wipes and bum lickers and toilet surfers, because they're doing it for purely financial reasons. And at the end of the day, their plan as con artists was just flush down the toilet, just like their mentality in their souls. So I can guarantee you now, the Spirit I placed on each of them, oh, they got one out. They got one each. Well, leave one out. So yes, I can assume and I know exactly what's been going on ever since. So yes, back to my original question of ladyboys. If you're falling in love with a man that's had a sex change and they have the perfect body, are you falling in love with the fantasy? Are you falling in love with the woman? Or are you falling in love with the aspect of man and woman at once? And are you fantasizing on that? So are you falling in love with the man that is now a woman? Because at the end of the day, it's each to their own. As long as they behave in a legal fashion or legal manner, then it doesn't bother me. But when they try to entrap me, because that's how I took it, these two so-called turds, they get my wrath. Well, I'm Sven Dagen, and I hope you've enjoyed this file. It's just a basic question. Goodbye.